When my father was 14, he was on the roof of the family house, replacing some loose tiles. He broke his arm below the elbow. Orthopedic surgery isn't what it is today, so they amputated it. My father had to live the rest of his life without an arm. Now he developed this powerful interest in beautiful things and harbored this curious theory that he can instill this sense of beauty into the minds of his children. And so this was the treatment that all of his children received even before they were born, including me. For most of us, childhood has created some pretty amazing memories. Whether it's riding the bike for the first time without safety wheels, realizing that cooties doesn't exist, or maybe it's the fact that you had to warm up some icy toilet seat for an older classmate. Some things that happen in life are just simply irreplaceable. An author retells the stories of childhood in Boy by Roald Dahl. When I was 6, my mother decided I should go to school. But I don't even remember how the room looked like, so much for my memories in kindergarten. When I was 7, my mother decided to send me to a proper boys' school, Llandaff Cathedral School. Now every day, when we went to and from the school, we'd pass the sweet shop. One of the other boys, Thwaites, told me never to buy these licorice bootlaces. Thwaites' father, a doctor, gave him a little lecture about these licorice bootlaces. Every rat catcher in the country takes the rats to the licorice factory, and then the manager pays them for each rat. Okay, so how do you turn that into licorice? After they've got 10,000 rats, they throw it into a steel cauldron, boil it for several hours, and then they have this cruncher that crunches all the bones and turns it into a pulpy substance called rat mash. Okay, so how do you turn that into licorice? They take a steamroller and they roll it flat into a black pancake. Then all they have to do is wait for it to harden, and then they cut it up. Don't eat it. You'll get ratitis. I ought to know, because I'm a doctor. Then there are these things called gobstoppers. These enormous candy balls that were the size of a small tomato. Throw it in your mouth, and you have 1 hour's worth of sucking, and if you take it out and inspect it every 5 minutes, you realize that it changes colors. Wow, how does it work? It's your spit that does it. How? If I explained it to you, you wouldn't understand anyways. Llandaff Sweet Shop was the center of our lives, but the woman who owned it was a horror. Her name was Mrs. I've got your eye on you, so take your thieving fingers off the chocolates. Pratchett. Mrs. Pratchett has this gray and greasy apron, but what disturbed me the most was her hand. You see, it looked like it'd been throwing black coal into a fire for all day. And to think that those hands are put into the sweet jars, you can understand why we had it in for Mrs. Pratchett in the big way. One day, we found a dead mouse. Okay, that is disgusting. Throw it away. Wait, don't throw it away. How about you say we throw this into one of Mrs. Pratchett's sweet jars? One sherbet sucker, please. So, did you do it? Of course I did. I felt like a hero. Now when I was 9, I set out on my first big adventure of my life. Boarding school. Oh yes, my dear Mrs. Dahl, you can send treats as often as you like. Perhaps an apple or an orange. Oh yes, as often as you like, as I said. Oh yes, of course, we do feed them here, but home cooking never tastes quite the same as school food, does it? Okay, bye now. Now, back then we called them masters, not teachers. And the master that I was most afraid of in St. Peter's It's Captain Hardcastle. Now you see, one day in school... Yeah! Sir, may I please go to the restroom? Certainly not. You should have gone before. But I didn't want to. I didn't know back then. Then whose fault is that? Yours. Now get back to your work. Yeah! The second time in school, not so great either. Please, sir, a wasp came in and stung me on the lip and now it's all swelling up. A what? Speak clearly, boy. I can't hear you. It's hard to speak properly when your lip is all swelling up. Are you trying to be funny? No, sir. I promise. Then speak properly. What's the matter with you, boy? Like I told you before, a wasp came in and stung me on the lip and now it's hurting really much. So what is hurting? My lip. Do you need your lip to write? No, sir. And all I see you doing is making an infernal noise and distracting all your classmates. Get back to your work. Somehow, I passed my first term in St. Peter's. Now on Christmas holiday, the family decided to take their first trip in their first motor car. How fast does it go? It'll go 60. Are you sure you know how this works? Do you even know what a brake is? Quiet. I need to concentrate. Suddenly we reached a sharpish bend in the road. Miraculously, none of us were really hurt. My nose got almost cut clean off. Oh. Then suddenly, a man on a horse with a cart appeared on the scene. Well, that's one mighty fine mess you got there. Do you know how to drive a motor car? Nope, but you're blocking up the whole road. You see, I've got these 10,000 fresh laid eggs that I want to take to the market by noon. Can you just get out of the way? Market, eggs, noon. Get it? Now, by the time I was 13, it was time for me to go to Repton. I spent the week before getting the schools closed with Mom in London. Now, at Repton, prefects aren't called prefects. They're called bozers. I spent 2 long years in Repton as a fag. And a fag is a servant of a study holder whose study has my little desk. Dahl, come over here. Now I need you to heat my seat in the bogs for me. I want it warm. A fellow fag told me that what the bozer meant was he wanted to use the lavatory, but he wanted his seat warmed first. Did you take the ice off yet? Yes, yes. Is it warm? As warm as I can get it. We'll see about that. Very good. I shall put you on my list. Now, my last term in Repton, my mother asked me, do you want to go to Oxford after you leave this school? No, thank you. See, I wanted this job that would take me to wonderful places like Africa and China. So I applied for a job at the Shell Company. And I was set. I had a career. I was to leave school forever in July. But that is another story. It has nothing to do with childhood, dead rats, gobstoppers, or bozers. And if all goes well, maybe I will be able to tell it one of these days. One of these days.